Hi, I am Judith and I am a blogger over at hisunmeasuredgrace.com where I help women to have grace and hope in their mom life. And I hope I can help you because some of us are moms and some of us are grandmothers or both, and others of us don't have any children, but we are women, so we mother somebody. So I am going to show you today and be talking about the start of a series about hand lettering. And I'm always saying that your handwriting is perfect for Bible journaling art. And that is true. And I only can hand letter a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm inviting you to come along with me as I learn how to do a little more hand lettering than I can already do, which is very little. And what I don't know how to use is some of the right kind of pens for hand lettering. And so that's what I'm going to be practicing with in the next, month or two or whatever until I learn how to do it. And so if you want to do this, I invite you to do this with me. And I have another book that I use, but this is the one I'm going to be working through right now. And it's one that my husband gave me for my birthday, and it's just really exciting. And it's called Super Simple Hand Lettering, and it's by Kylie Bennett. And I will link it in the description so that you can get it too if you want. But I will warn you that it will be an affiliate link, and that's because it costs me money to do the things I do so I can bring it to you. And I get very, very little commission from Amazon, but any little bit helps. So I just wanted to warn you of that. So the first thing I'm going to do today is just go over some things as I'm learning to use this very beautiful book. Look. And in it, you practice right in the book and practice the different styles of handwriting. And I will go through and teach a little bit about hand lettering, but I'm first going to give you the hand lettering basics and just to get you interested that maybe it's something you want to do. So hand lettering is different than handwriting. And when I was a kid, I went to British government schools in Hong Kong back when Hong Kong was a British crown colony and Queen Elizabeth was over Hong Kong. And so to tell you the truth, although I'm an American, when I was 5 years old and in first grade, you learned to sing the songs that were British songs, and I learned to sing God Save Her Gracious Queen before I learned the American songs and the more American, whatever you call it. So that's just a little digression. So hand lettering is different from handwriting. And my point was that we had to have very nice handwriting and we had to trace over it. And it kind of reminds me of what I'm going to be doing and what this book encourages you to do. And that's what will help you become a good hand letterer. So it's an art form of learning to write or draw fancy letters. And, handwriting can be anything. It can be neat. It can be messy. My handwriting goes from messy to neat. I often say that your handwriting is your hand lettering. And that's true to a point. But you use brush pens, which I'll go into in the next time that I do this. But right now, I just want to help you understand better what hand lettering is. There are different pens to hand letter with. One is the quill pen that's in a pot of ink. Now, I never used the quill pen, but what I did use in my British schools, we had to use a fountain pen, and some of the kids, we actually had, we actually filled them up, actually I did too, with a pot of ink. And before us, they actually there was a little hole in the desk where the ink actually went. The desks were, from that time. I don't think it was very much earlier. And the kids that had more money had a cartridge ink thing in their pen. I never had that. I had to actually fill my pen up with the ink. And we were not supposed to leave any ink blotches, but I was like a kid. And you had to use them by the time you were in third grade. And in British schools, I was 5 in first grade, 6 years old. You were 7 years old by the time you were in third grade because they started you early. So that was between 7 and 8 years old that year. And where you're kind of still a little kid. So that was a skill. Another thing you can use is a permanent marker like a Sharpie. And then another thing that I got recently was a box of Prismacolor hand lettering pens, and they are the most wonderful things, and I have really enjoyed starting to use them. But now with this book, I'll learn how to use those pens properly and better. Another thing is a brush pen, and that's something my husband gave me when I first started my journaling. And because I use more of the coloring method, I have not really used those pens much because I never learned to use them. So now I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and start learning to use them. And when I get a little more comfortable with the actual methods of hand lettering, I'll come back and do another video. So one thing is that the nib is what makes each pen different. Now this is a ballpoint pen, and the nib on it is stiff. And that's different than the nib on a hand lettering pen because they are more flexible and more like a paintbrush. And that's what I found hard and the challenge and what I'm going to learn to overcome in this. Most ballpoint pens or gel pens have a stiff nib. And I've learned how to make it look like I'm doing hand lettering in my journals, but I'm really not because I make it wider and color it in. And that's very tedious, and it's not the same, and it's not as artistic a skill as what I'm reading in this book. So the nib that a ballpoint pen has is a monoline nib, and that's because it's stiff. And the more difficult to do hand lettering are in the nibs on the brush pens and those type of things. Okay, brush nibs, like with the brush pens, make it possible to do the eye-catching and impressive lettering. I can't do that yet. That's why this is come along and draw with me and learn along with me, because I'm no expert in Bible journaling art. I'm learning things as I go, and I kind of got stuck in one type of way of doing it, and I'm trying to learn other skills and come back and share them with you. So the distinct nib types are the large and small brush nibs and the large and small mono nibs. Now that's all I have to share with you today, and I wanted to keep this short. So you're seeing this either on YouTube or Jesus Journaling, my Facebook group, and you might even see it on my blog if I ever get it over there. So thanks for joining me, and you have a wonderfully blessed day.